Welcome to another tutorial, guys. And if this is your first time here, my name is Grace and I share sewing tutorials on this YouTube channel. In this tutorial, we're going to be learning how to draft, cut and sew this beautiful Victorian Corset Bustier Blouse with a stylish yoke neckline and also a stylish hemline. Trust me, there's a lot to unpack in this tutorial, so make sure you stick to the end and don't miss any part of this lesson. And with no further ado, let's get into the video and start learning. So first, I'm going to be showing you the materials that I'm going to be using for this particular blouse project, and the first one on the list here is this soft crepe. I have it in one trouser, and this is a net, a particular type of chantilly net, although I don't know if this one can be called chantilly net because it's a little bit more expensive. And I also have one trouser of that. Then I have this several meters of Reggiline boning, about 6 yards, and I also have my hairstay, 2 yards of hairstay, which is for stability when ironed on the main fabric and the lining. I also have wording, which is popularly known as the breast pad. And then I have my pattern tools, which is my pattern paper, my marker, my scissors, my ruler, and my tape rule. So first off, I'll go ahead into the pattern drafting. So to draft the front, my pattern paper is folded into two, and I will just confirm if what I have on the wideness of the paper is able to accommodate my bust and about 5 extra inches. So from the top of the pattern paper, I'm going to draw a straight line like this, and that's going to serve as the shoulder line and the starting point, which will guide the other lines. So from the shoulder line, I'll go down to my chest line, which mine is at 8.5 inches. In order to get your chest line, you just have to divide your bust circumference by 6 and add 1.5 or 2 inches to that. So I'm marking my chest line at 8.5 inches, and once I'm done marking, I will also draw a straight line across. Then I'll label that the chest line. I'll also come up again from the shoulder line. I'll go down to my bust point and also mark it. My bust point is at 10.5 inches. To get your bust point, just measure from your shoulder to your nipple. That's your bust point. So I'll draw a straight line across as well, and then measure down to my waistline and also my underbust. So my underbust first, which is at 13.5 inches. My underbust is at 13.5 inches, so I'll mark that as well. To get your underbust line, just measure from your shoulder down to the under of your bust. So this is the bust point, this is the underbust, and the next line is going to be my waistline. Mine is at 17 inches, so I'll mark that as well and draw a straight line across. Then I'm going to also mark where my blouse is going to be ending, which is also going to be like the hip of this blouse. So you are going to mark wherever yours is going to end as well. So this is my hip line and ultimately where the blouse is going to end. So next, on this shoulder line, divide your shoulder measurement by 2 and mark that. Mine is 16, that divided by 2 will give me 8. So I marked 8 on the shoulder line and also on the chest line. Then I'll connect both lines together like this, as you can see. Then for the neckline, I'll just go ahead and use the normal 3x3 neckline. So for the neck depth 3 and also for the neck width 3, and then I'll connect that with my cuff. You can also use your free hand to do this as well. Then on this line here, I'll come down by 1 inch, then connect with a slant to meet the neckline. So basically, I'm just drafting a basic bodice pattern. On this same line again, I'll go ahead and I'll divide it into 2. Then from the division, I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch and come to my chest line. Place my bust circumference divided by 4 on my chest line, and I will now connect these 3 points, as you can see here, to form my armhole cuff for the front. So that's the armhole cuff. Now the next thing is to go ahead and place my nipple to nipple measurement on all my lines starting from the bust point. So my nipple to nipple divided by 2 is 4 inches. And I'm going to place that 4 inches from the middle on the bust point, the underbust, the waistline, and also on the hip line. Then I'll connect all those points together. Once that is done, on the waistline, I will come out of that straight line by half an inch on both sides, and then from the bust point I'll come down by half an inch. I'll mark that. That is just to prevent gaping, so come down by half an inch, then connect from the bust point to the waistline on both sides of the dart that we just took. Then from the hip line, I will come up by 1.5 inch and connect also from the waistline to meet that point. So this is just like a normal basic bodice pattern and that. Then let's go into getting our underbust tightening for this bustier. So basically the underbust tightening is going to be sitting on this underbust line, and I would just like to show you a simple calculation on how you can get your underbust tightening. And the calculation is your bust circumference divided by 4 minus your underbust circumference divided by 4. So for me, my bust circumference is 36, that divided by 4, then my underbust is 30, and that will be divided by 4. So that gives me 9 minus 7.5, and ultimately I get 1.5 as my answer. So that 1.5 now is going to be the tightening on this underbust area. So I like to share mine. I share it half an inch and 1 inch on each side. So for the side going in there, I gave it half an inch, and from the side coming out at the side, I used to give it 1 inch. So I'm going to use my cuff to just connect back to the bust point, as you can see me doing it here. So right now, that's the underbust tightening. I'm just going to blend it into my dart that I already have. So that's just it. So the next thing now is to determine the cup height, because this blouse is going to be having a yoke. So we are going to determine where the yoke is going to start, and to do that, I'll just come up from this my chest line by 1.5 inch and mark that. So if you want your own yoke to be more revealing, you can maintain this chest line or just come up by half an inch or 1 inch. But me, I don't want cleavage to be showing, so I come up by 1.5 inch. You can do 2 inches as well. So that's going to be like the break point between the blouse and the yoke. Next is that on this shoulder slant here, on this shoulder, I'm going to measure what I have there and divide that into 2, and then connect from that point to meet my bust point. So right now I'm going to be getting my overbust tightening on that new line that I just created, and I'm going to be using 1 inch each on both sides, and I'll connect back to the bust point as well, like this. So my pattern is almost ready. The only thing that is left now is to place the side measurement. So I measured what I have in between the dart that I just drew now, which is 2 inches, and I replaced it on this chest line. Then coming to the underbust, I'll place my underbust divided by 4, which is 7.5 inches. Then I will add whatever I have in between that dart at the underbust area. Same with the waistline, I'll measure my waist measurements, the circumference of my waist divided by 4. Then I will replace whatever I have in between the darts. And also at the hip line, I'm just going to place my hip measurements divided by 4. Then I will connect all these points together like this. So just use your cuff to connect like this, or your free hand. So lastly, before I start cutting out this pattern, I'm going to be placing my bust dart, and this bust dart is just to fix the differences between the half length of the front and that of the back. So normally if I measure my half length at the front, I have 17 inches, which is my waistline, but at my back I have 15.5 inches. So 17 minus 15.5 inches is going to give me 1.5. So from the bust point, I measured down 1.5 inches, and I will now connect that to meet that bust point that we have at the middle. I hope you understand that. So now this is going to be eliminated. This bust that area is going to be eliminated in order to have equal sides of the front and the back. So this is very, very important when you are cutting out your bustier or your corset. And the reason is that the half length of the front is never always the same thing as that of the back, because we have breast at the front. So I hope that is understood. So before cutting, I'm just going to go ahead and blend in my darts very well. So I'm just extending the dart legs like this, just to make sure that it's all blended in. Then the first thing I will do with the cutting is to eliminate the bust dart. So to do that, I'm going to slash in through the middle of this dart to meet the bust point, and I will fold this bust that area in like this, I'll use my tape to tape it down. So when you do this, you realize that the measurement at the side like this is not that balanced again, so you just have to like balance it up. So just connect the lines back, as you can see me do. So now it's time to cut out this pattern. So just watch the way I'm cutting this out like this. So cut out the dart area like this all the way and stop when you get to that point, which is the yoke. So I'm just cutting out the yoke away and proceed to cut out the remaining part of the dart. So this is what I have. I'll go ahead and notch the bust points of both sides, and when I open it up, this is what it looks like. This is what the yoke also looks like for now. So in order to complete this yoke, which is a stylish neckline, what I'm just going to do is that on this part, I'm just going to come out by about 1.5 inch like this, then connect it down to the down part of the yoke. Then from the other side of the neck, I'm going to give it the cuff that is on the neckline. So you can use your free hand to do this. You can also employ the use of this curved rule. So can you see, I'm just going to cut that out, and that is how will come about the neckline that is on the inspiration of this style. So I'll go ahead now to draft the pattern of the back of this dress. So to draft the back, I already placed the important lines and drafted the neckline. So I have my shoulder line, I have my chest line, my waistline of the back, which is at 15.5 inches. Remember I said the waist of the back is different from that of the front, so mine is at 15.5 inches. So in order to get the hip line of the back, it has to be the same thing as what is on the waistline to the hip line of the front. So whatever I have on between the waistline and the hip line of the front is what is going to be at the back as well. So the implication is that the back is not going to be as long as the front is originally, and that's the way you can have a balanced bustier or corset dress at the end of the day. So on the chest line, I'm going to place the measurement of my nipple to nipple divided by 2, and also on the waistline and also on the hip line. Then I'll connect those 3 points together. Once that is done, on the waistline, I'll come out by 1/2 inch on both sides, just like we did in front the other time, and also connect it to the chest line like this, and also to the hip line. So on the hip line, I'll come up by 1.5 inches like we did in front, then connect from the waistline to meet it on both sides as well. So once this is done, the next thing is to place the waist measurement. So my waist circumference divided by 4, I place that, and I also replace what I have in between the darts. Then for the hip line, I also just place my hip circumference divided by 4, and I also connect the sides of the back as well. So the next thing is to determine the neckline of the back, how it's going to be. So I'll be using a normal V-shaped neckline, but before I draw that out, I'm going to be coming in on the center part of this pattern by 2 inches, and I'll connect that together because this blouse is going to be carrying eyelets at the back. So now from the neckline, I'm just going to connect a slant line to meet that new line that I just drew now. So this part is going to be the back yoke. Then I'm just going to cut out this pattern like this. So you are going to be putting zip at the back of your own blouse. Instead of removing 2 inches for the eyelet area, you will add extra 1.5 or 2 inches for zipper allowance instead. So sorry that part was not recorded. I didn't know it was not recording while I was doing that, but I just cut out all the parts that were not needed and also the dart area. So I'm just placing that area here so that you can see what we cut out. So this is what the back pattern looks like after it has been cut. So I labeled that part carrying the highlights, the center back, and also this part, the side back. So now this is the front pattern, and can you see that when we place the side of the front on the side of the back, now they align. So that's the purpose of eliminating the bust dart and taking note of the differences between the front half length and the back half length. So in the next tutorial, we're going to be learning how to sew these pieces together. So make sure that you stay tuned to this channel. If you are yet to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified when the tutorial is up. And also don't forget to like, share and comment on this particular video. Until I see you in my next tutorial. Bye.